All the snow has stopped falling, but boy, a lot of people waking up buried by the record snow up in the Northeast. There you see Boston, Massachusetts, a live shot this morning. They got hit hard.
They did, and those coastal towns in Massachusetts also hit hard by flooding. And another storm is on the way. ABC's extreme weather team covering every angle for us, and Ginger starting us off again this morning.
Yeah, starting us off in a very cold Times Square. It is so cold behind that storm, and it was impressive. Worcester, Massachusetts, with its biggest snowstorm ever. Look at those numbers, 34.5, and so many more impressive numbers coming from all of the cities and states, from anywhere in Maine through New Hampshire, Connecticut, and yes, Long Island. There's still a few lingering snow showers up in Maine, but I'm telling you, the cold is what you will notice this morning. Mount Washington, 27 below. That feels like the wind chill here is 6. That next storm comes through, you guys, Thursday, and Thursday night, it looks very light, certainly in comparison. Nothing light about what happened in Boston, and that's where our Rob Marciano has been doing an impressive job there, Rob. More than 2 feet of snow.
Yeah, and here in South Boston, Ginger, they got 3 feet. Now, this road may look drivable, but it's a really tight road here in South Boston, and because of that, you can barely get a small plow through here. And that also means that the cars on either side get completely buried. Look at this. There's a car underneath that. Can you imagine that? So the only way to get to work, or anywhere for that matter, is to use one of these and dig yourself out. And it's not just here in Boston. Millions of Americans are doing exactly this morning. Overnight, the Massachusetts coast battered as storm surge moved in. And this morning, millions of people in New England waking up under a paralyzing blanket of snow.
We're still in the middle of a winter storm of historic proportions here in the city of Boston.
12,000 homes without power this morning.
We're going to stay. We have a generator.
Including most of the island of Nantucket, where winds reach nearly 80 miles per hour. This time-lapse video showing just how much snow piled up. Over the day, some areas getting as much as 3 feet. That wind causing damaging floods in many coastal towns. Take a look at this dramatic video from Truro, Massachusetts, when the Atlantic breaches the beach and pours into the Willamette River. Sand dunes normally in place to separate the two washed away.
This is horrible. We walked this wall yesterday and it's gone.
In Marshfield, a stretch of seawall crumbling, sending the ocean surging into homes, leaving them and their owners devastated. As Massachusetts lifted its travel ban overnight, across New England, crews working into the night, clearing the feet of snow off the roads. This car barely able to navigate the street.
You really can't see much of anything with this snow and this visibility.
On this street nearby where I was pummeled by snow yesterday, when the storm hit first, cars now completely buried. The dig out also beginning in other cities across the Northeast hit by the storm. Many, including New York City, spared the worst of it.
Better than being cooped up at home shoveling.
Some made the most of the snow day. In New Hampshire, an epic snowball fight. Not even the camera crew was safe.
George, I'm not making much progress, man. I think I need your help here. We're not even, oh, there we go. There's the side view mirror. It's going to take quite some time, my friend. There's hundreds of cars like this, thousands probably around the Boston area this morning. We got a lot of work to do.
Oh, catch your breath, Rob. Okay, thanks very much. Airport's getting back to business this morning. You're looking at New York's LaGuardia Airport right now. We're going to show that. Most flights resuming, only about 600 cancellations. And ABC's David Curley is at Reagan National Airport with the latest on all that. Good morning, David.
Morning, George. 600 cancellations, and the airlines worked really hard overnight to keep that number from dramatically increasing. They were moving planes into the New York area. You mentioned LaGuardia. They got 27 planes in last night, and we've already seen some takeoffs this morning, which is good news. The lower than expected snowfall in the New York area allowed these airlines to kind of speed up their recovery efforts. Now, many of the major carriers are telling us that by tonight they expect to be close to their normal operations. That's after nearly 8,000 cancellations, and it has been costly. One aviation tracking firm says 400,000 passengers were affected by this storm, costing them and the economy $235 million. The good news, George and Robin, we are starting to get back to normal. It's just going to be cold getting to your plane.
Yeah, a lot of movement behind you there. Okay, David, thanks very much.
And there have been a lot of tough questions for politicians this morning after the storm, shutting down major cities, but based on forecasts that were wrong, costing lots of money. But our ABC weather team was right on the mark, especially here in New York City. And Ginger, there was a lot of talk about, there were some meteorologists that were apologizing for the forecast.
Yeah, and I think they were apologizing for their communication, especially of the forecast. For me, one of the biggest issues is the word historic. I don't think you can forecast history. And so that was a word I was fighting big time. I hate to put that on a topic bar. We call those lower thirds, where people, even if they're not watching that closely, they see 3 feet and historic and they go, oh my gosh. So that's what I think we're apologizing and saying in the future we're going to communicate the ranges better, especially because we know these storms can move back and forth.
Yeah, we heard you talking for days leading up to this, all of us, and you were very cautious and you were respectful for what was being put out there, but you were very clear to all of us here. So people watching at home are going, okay, so what are we supposed to believe next time?
Right, and I'll always go at it conservative. Our team does that, but what you should do is local forecasters know your area best. That's where you go first for information. And then don't freak out. I think that's the other thing. Prepare with fact and not with that headline. So watch for that.
And there were a lot of tweets, and there was one especially that someone said, they would rather a loss of money than a loss of lives.
Absolutely. And without the accidents were so impressive. Getting cars off the roads never bothers me.
All right.